we are going to get started. I have none other than Mr. Robert Lucas from the Sweet Impact. Robert, thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so just in case anybody wants to know how in the world we got together, I am part of a YouTube group called the Creator Collective. And so I have to say thank you to YouTube and thank you to Jacqueline Brennan for suggesting this collab. So at an event here in Atlanta, I'm in Atlanta. Y'all know Robert is also a Southern Georgia man. I actually met Robert and I went up to him and I said, you know what? I'm a cooker, not a baker. And do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I'm a baker, not a cooker. So, and I mean that.
Absolutely. So, Jacqueline suggested we get together. So, Robert is known for his amazing cakes. His channel is The Sweet Impact. And you may have also seen him on Netflix. So, Robert, if you would please just introduce yourself and then we'll get started.
Yeah, so my name is Robert Lucas. I go by the Sweet Impact online. I am part of the Big Noted Bacon Challenge on Netflix. I'm a one of the two coaches on the show where we teach bakers who want to learn how to bake but don't know how to. We kind of teach them the steps to become really great cake designers and bakers. I'm self-taught, so like everything that I know and know how to do, I did teach myself, and I started in 2019. So I'm now, I've learned a few things over these past 4 years, and yeah, so I'll be happy to share my knowledge with you all.
Okay, so I am ready. So, what is chocolate ganache for anyone who doesn't know? Can you please at least let us know what are we making?
Yeah, so chocolate ganache is just two ingredients. It's chocolate and heavy cream. Once you
Okay.
combine those two together, you're just basically you have an emulsion that you can use to do cake drips. You can also frost cakes with it. You can whip it to make a type of frosting that go on top of cupcakes. And I love to use it whenever I'm doing any kind of sculpted cakes or covering the cake with fondant.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So for me, that was a little bit foreign, but I do have my ingredients here. So I am going to cook with Robert. So he told me we need heavy cream. So I have real milk today, y'all. I know I'm usually dairy free, but we're going to do heavy whipping cream. And I bought lots of chocolates. He's suggesting that I use the semi sweet. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm going to use, the Ghirardelli semi sweet. So I am ready to learn.
Yeah, so with ganache, depending on what chocolate chips you're using, it matters about the ratio. So that's why I suggest the semi-sweet. It's always really going to be the best because if you were to use milk chocolate, you're going to have to use a lot more milk chocolate than the cream because it's just going to be an imbalance. So easy ganache recipe is just a 1-to-1 ratio. That's what we're going to make now is a 1-to-1. If this is going to be great for drips. And it's also going to be great for a filling in a cake. If you were to cover a cake with ganache, like to cover it with fondant and modeling chocolate, you use a 3-to-1. So I'd use 3 times more chocolate chips than I would cream. But today we're just going to do a 1-to-1. So I got 1 cup of semi-sweet here, and then I also have. I'm actually going to use 3/4. You could use a 1-to-1. So a 1-to-1 would be 1 cup of the cream, 1 cup of the chocolate chips. I'm going to use 3/4 just because I'm going to be using this for a drip. So I just want to
Ooh.
make sure that my drips are not going to be very runny. That's just what I like to do. You can use a 1-to-1. It's really up to the cake artist how they like to do it.
I love how you say the cake artist. So for those of us who aren't cake artists, can you explain what is a drip? And I'm going to get my one cup of chocolate and 3/4 cup of heavy cream ready.
Yeah, yeah. So, ganache drip is those cakes that you see where there's drips running down the cake, and everyone is always curious about like how are the drips not running all the way down? How do they stop halfway on the cake? And that really determines the ratio that you're using, which is why I said I'm going to use 3/4 just to make sure it doesn't drip all the way down. And then also, um, it's just really how you want to do it. So the 3/4 is really going to make sure the drips doesn't go all the way down. And then whenever you see it on a cake your cake wants to be cold because if it's a room temperature cake and you do the drips, they may run all the way down. If the cake is cold, it's going to stop the drips and kind of solidify the fat that's in the cream and stop it from going all the way down.
Okay, that's really good to know because I know you started with shorts online and now you're moving into long form. And I have to say a
Mhm,
huge thank you because y'all, Robert, I don't believe has ever gone live before and he's never
mhm.
collabed before. So this is a first. I am so, so grateful. But when we watch the shorts and you make those amazing cakes, in
Mhm.
between then you've actually either refrigerated it or frozen it so that it holds on to the drip. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so I just chill it. So I'll put it in the fridge. I don't put
Okay.
it in the freezer. If I put it in the freezer, it's going to make it a little too cold, and you'll start see the condensation on the sides of the cake. That's going to really mess things up. So
Okay.
it's really just best to freeze. If you do freeze something, it's best to freeze it. Then it's best to put it in the fridge, and then it's best to take it out. But don't move it straight from the freezer to like room temp. There's going to be a lot of condensation, a lot going on.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
great tip. So if you have a frozen cake, move it from the freezer to the fridge first, and then
Hmm.
from the fridge to room temperature. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. All right, yes, sir, I am ready. I have 1 cup of our Ghirardelli semi-sweet chips, and then I poured 3/4 cup of the heavy whipping cream. So
All
it
right.
looks
So
like, yes, I'm ready.
all right, so what you're gonna do, so I'm gonna microwave mines. You're gonna do yours on the stovetop, correct?
I will.
Okay, so the way to do yours is you're just gonna pour the heavy whipping cream right into the pot,
Okay,
and then you're just going to set it to a medium temp.
okay,
Nothing too cry. Medium high is fine. And
okay.
then basically what you're doing, do you already have a bowl ready for your chocolate?
I do.
All right, go ahead and put your chocolate in that bowl.
Okay,
All right, and then so what you're looking for with your heavy whipping cream,
uh-huh,
great. What you're looking for is once you start to see bubbles around the sides of the pot,
uh-huh.
it's time to take it off.
Okay. Should I have
So
the
you're
top
just
on or top off? Does it matter?
top off. Keep yeah, you
Top
can
off.
keep the top off.
Okay.
Once you start to see it begins to bubble a little bit around the sides, you can take it off, and then you're just going to pour it straight onto the chocolate chips. That's all I want to make sure you have the chocolate chips in the bowl already.
Oh, okay, that's
So
a great tip. And you're doing the microwave. Is there a reason why you do the microwave?
they do honestly the same thing. I think this is so much faster to just put it in the microwave, and it's a lot less for me to clean. So that's why I like to use the microwave. But it's really up to you, how you want to do it. I haven't noticed any difference in
Okay.
doing the two. What you want to do is to make sure that when you're heating your heavy whipping cream over the stove, like I said, you want to wait till you see it to start to bubble.
Okay.
Once you see that, you want to take it off because if you keep it there a little too long,
Uh-huh.
keep going. Is it really bubbling on the sides?
It was coming through the middle, so I'll just keep an eye on it for just another minute. So you're looking for bubbles around the rim,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Okay.
And if you keep it on there too long, basically what you're doing, you're gonna get a lot of the liquid out of the heavy whipping cream, leaving a
Okay.
lot of the fats left. So
Okay.
that's going to really affect how it, melts the chocolate and come
Okay.
together. So I'm gonna put mine in this microwave now because on the microwave it's gonna take me like a minute
Okay.
to heat up.
All right. I don't know if you're able to see this, but I've got some bubbling going on here.
Okay. Is it?
Keep going.
No, I think it's okay. I think
Okay.
it's fine. Can you
Okay.
lift it up a little to the camera?
Yeah.
I think that's okay. It seems pretty warm to you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can go ahead and put it on the chocolate. And
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you another reason why I like to do it in the microwave. That once I put this in this bowl and
Uh-huh.
the cream wasn't hot enough, I can always just put this back in the microwave. You can't really
Ah,
do that on the stovetop.
you okay. So you know what? We're gonna do the microwave version after we get done with this.
And that's why I also do it in like a glass bowl, microwavable bowl, so I can put it right back in the microwave.
Good
Um,
point.
so in the microwave, basically all I'm doing is I'm just looking to see it basically do the same thing. Once it
Mhm.
starts to bubble and it kind of starts to rise, I
Yeah.
know like take it out, just pour it on the chocolate.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So what is the difference between chocolate ganache and just frosting?
Um, Frosting is usually buttercream, so that's basically in any type of buttercream, you need butter. Um, you can make ganache with butter. There,
Mm-hmm.
um, there are some people who like to do that. I don't. It's up to you if you want to use butter or not.
Uh-huh.
Basically, butter will give it like a really nice shine to it,
Ooh. It
but
smells
it just depends. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, you went ahead of me. Okay, so I'm gonna pour this in there, and I'm just going to let this sit for a second. I'm actually not going to stir it yet because I want the heat from this heavy whipping cream to kind of start to melt the chocolate
Oh,
before I begin to whisk it.
good to know on my next batch. That's what I'll do. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
So
Fantastic.
I'm just going to let this sit just for like a minute or so,
Okay.
and then I'll take my whisk and start to whisk it.
Okay.
Then when doing that, it's also kind of a certain way to do it. It's all right. You were excited, so
I was excited. Okay. So, for yes, for those of us who do the microwave version, what are you looking for in the microwave? Is it the same as the stove, meaning the little bubbles on the side, or you
yeah.
just
Once you yeah, once you start to see bubbles on the side, and actually in the microwave, what you'll do is you'll see it start to rise up, like all those bubbles, and if you keep it in there a little too long, you're not washing it, it will overflow and kind of like go all over the microwave. But
we definitely don't want that.
well, basically, you're just looking for the bubbles on the sides, or just once you start to see it rise, take it
Uh-huh.
out, and then
Okay.
you know it's good to go.
Okay. Got it. So,
So this is set here for a little minute. I can now start to stir it. Like I said, if I see all the chocolate chips aren't melting, even after I whisk it, I can just put this back in the microwave just for a few seconds and whisk it till it comes back all smooth. So I'm just
oh,
gonna start in the middle, and I'm not even going to go all the way around yet. I'm just gonna stay right here, and in the very middle of the bowl, I'll start to see the emulsion to see it start to come together.
ooh, emulsion, fancy. All right, let's see how take two is going. All right, it's still good. We'll give it 15 more seconds, and then I'll I'll do the proper batch. So you mixed it in the middle
Mhm.
before you started the big swirl. Is there a
Yep.
reason why?
Just to start it, and if I try to start doing a big swirl at once, it's gonna get messy, and it's just a lot easier to start seeing it come together.
Okay. All right. So,
And like I said, and you can do this same thing with white chocolate chips too. So
ooh, I did buy that. So you all, after Robert leaves us, we're gonna play around with this. I've got white chocolate chips. Let me go ahead and pour this in. So I microwaved another one. Y'all can see it's kind of steaming here. So I'm just gonna pour it in to the 1 cup of chocolate and let it sit the proper way. All right. So
all
Robert,
right.
since you are self-taught, I'm sure you've
Mhm.
had some epic fails at baking. Is there anything that you remember that you were like, oh my God, I destroyed that?
Surprisingly enough, I really have not had that many fails. I mean, I've just done things that were like small that happened that I was just able to easily fix, but like nothing tragic. The only bad thing that I did happen one time was it was just a small cake I was making, and this was at the time when I first started, so I was in an apartment trying to film and had, electrical wires all over the floor, extension cords. And I tripped over one of the cords and I like had to catch myself like with my hands on the table and my hand like went through the cake and smashed it. So I just had to throw it away. So that's the only like bad thing that happened. But that wasn't
Okay.
even like me doing something bad. I just was clumsy.
Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for the support. All right. So I think this is sat for a minute in a microwave safe bowl. So I'm going to try and be fancy like Mr. Robert and just kind of swirl a little bit in here and then see if we can make a proper ganache. So when you were swirling, you just did the little bit and then you did a round, right? Is that
Mhm,
proper
mhm.
technique
Yeah, I
spacing?
just started right in the middle, just
Okay.
small circles. But now that I have mine whisked, I am just going to take a spatula. I'm just going to go down the sides and just to make sure everything is incorporated after.
Ooh, fancy. So I have to ask you, Robert, how are you not as big as a house?
I work out often. I work out at least 5 times a week,
Oh,
or 5 days a week, and sometimes six. I have a pretty like strict, not strict routine, I guess, but it probably a
hmm
lot of people wouldn't do it. But I
hmm
wake up at 5 a.m. and then I go to the gym and then I kind of start my day. So I start my days really early.
it's looking really good. I'm doing what you did, the small circles, and then
That's
now.
yeah, now you can go ahead and kind of just aggressively do it to really get it combined. Mine is
Okay,
completely combined now. It's
yeah,
at this point, especially with the spatula, I'm just looking
okay,
after I scrape down the sides to see if I see any like chunks of chocolate chips that weren't melted.
uh-huh.
If I see that right now, all I would do is put it back in the microwave for a few seconds, just to make sure that all the chocolate is melted. But
Yeah.
if you heat the cream up, usually and let it sit, it will melt the chocolate, so you won't have to do that. But you can if you need to.
No, that's a really good technique. Just letting that warm cream melt the chocolate so that when you swirl it like this, you don't have little bits of chocolate because you didn't stir it too fast. So
Right.
thank you for that tip. I think this is looking really good for my
Yeah.
amateur eye. And I'll get in here with a spatula and just make sure it's nice and smooth. Oh, it
Mhm.
smells so good. But I guess after all these cakes that you've made, it's probably like working in a candy store. It's just regular to you now, right?
It is, and you know, ganache is one of those things that it's really easy to make, and everyone's always curious what it is, and you can
Mm,
do so much with it. Now, this 1-to-1 ratio, basically, even though it's not quite 1-to-1 because we did 3/4, even with this, you can basically put this in a stand mixer, or you can just take a hand mixer with a whisk attachment. If we were to whisk this, because of the heavy cream in it, it's going
uh-huh.
to really fluff up and it'll make basically like a frosting, and you can use it to pipe on the top of cupcakes or anything like that. So you can do a lot of different things with it. I wouldn't want to frost a cake with it because basically what's going to happen is all the air will eventually start to deflate. So if you bake, I try to decorate a cake, it's just going to deflate and it won't look good. But it'd be really nice to do on top of cupcakes. So
Oh,
when I do drip cakes, I like to
okay.
use the bottle. So I'm just going to transfer my ganache to the bottle because that's how I do it. So just have a funnel to help me do this.
Oh, wow. And I need a funnel. Okay. Let me grab a
Oh,
funnel.
you don't have to. It's just if you want
No.
to be messy, it's just a lot cleaner this way for me. So,
Okay. So I have this little condiment container. Y'all can get these at the dollar store. Then I'm going to
mhm.
put a funnel in here and he's just scraping it into the funnel. Okay. Let's give this a try. Um,
Is it all melted?
yes, sir. It's all
Okay.
melted, so I don't
Okay.
see any chunks of anything in there. I love what you said about the stand mixer. I am going to give that a try. So if I do the stand mixer to fluff it up with the other version that I messed up, how long would you mix it, or you just kind of eyeball it?
You're just eyeing it. This
Okay.
is, you'll see once it gets that, like, it'll, instead of being like this dark brown color, once you whisk it and whip it up, it's gonna turn like a lighter brown. It's gonna be really fluffy, and like you can just
Ooh.
frost and do anything with it. It'll be really great to put on like a top of a cupcake or anything like that.
Okay. I think my funnel's a little small, but I'm going to watch you and I'll figure it out. All right.
Yeah, so this is all done, ready to go, and then I'll just use, so this has to rest before I would use it. So I would let this rest for about 30 minutes to an hour. I
Uh,
typically will make this in advance before I did like a drip cake because
okay.
I don't want this too runny. So the
Mm-hmm.
longer it sets and it starts to cool, it'll start to solidify and just be a lot more firmer than
Mm-hmm.
trying to do it right now where it's really runny. Um,
Okay.
but if you
Got
were to whisk it, you could whisk it right away. You wouldn't have to wait. But if you were to use it for like a filling or a drip, I would suggest letting it rest. Now, once it rests and it starts to cool off, it may then get too thick. The reason why I like to use these bottles is that I can pop this into the microwave to like get the right temperature, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
just test it on the side of like a glass or the side of a cup just to
Mm-hmm.
see how far the drip goes down. And then
Okay.
if it's not going down far enough, it still seems a little too thick, I put it back in the microwave. I've done it where I heated it up too much, so I had to put it back in the fridge and let it cool off. So it's just a really, you really have to eye it and gauge and really see like what you want out of the ganache to do for you.
Okay, well, this was incredible, Robert. I am so grateful. I am going to put mine in a piping bag and set it aside to let it cool. And then the other one that I messed up, I'm going to put in the mixer and see if we can frost. I've got some strawberries. I'm going to try and decorate those. I've got
Mhm,
some, I'm not a baker like you, so I just bought some store-bought cakes and cookies just to practice. But
mhm.
this was absolutely incredible. I learned something. I hope you all learned something too. I just want to say thank you. I know you're incredibly busy. Where can everybody find you for more?
You can find me on pretty much every social at the Sweet Impact. And then my website is thesweetimpact.com, where you can find all the pictures of my cake designs, of all the videos that I create. You can pretty much find everything there.
Well, we will be watching and we will be subscribing and following and cheering you on your Netflix show. Nailed it, the baking challenge. So very exciting. Again, thank you, YouTube, and thank you, Jacqueline Brennan, for setting up this collab. So I'm going to keep going here with the audience, but I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Any final words?
No, just good luck. Have fun with it. Just have fun.
I'm going to try and make something to make you proud, and I'll show it to you later.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Thanks so much, Robert.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, bye. OMG, y'all. Thank you so much, Robert. Let's put the strawberries on here and we'll take our pictures and y'all tell me what you want and we are done. All right, so let's go here with our strawberries. It look a little janky, but you know what? Look, we made homemade chocolate ganache today. Thank you. We have our chocolate covered strawberries. Probably would have been better, honestly, to dip them into the ganache and then sprinkle them, but I had it in the piping bag, so. All right, so we got it done. So I'm going to be packing these up and sending them out. And again, thank you to Sweet Impact for the collab. You've never gone live and you've never collabed, but you chose to say yes to me. So I am so grateful. Thank you. Yes, please share and subscribe. Happy belated Halloween, folks, 2024. Mariah has thawed out. I think she said, it's time. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.